Hi, everyone. Welcome to the final day of the 5-day Accelerate Your Income Challenge. So excited that you've been able to join me for this week. I think it's so frustrating as a business owner when you're working really, really hard and just not making the money that you want to be making. And so I think a lot of times it comes down to just going back to the fundamentals and really getting clear on what you're doing and how you're talking about it. So for day 5, we're going to dig in a little bit deeper, and let me get started. So we're going to be talking about the plumber's mindset and how it helps you reach your income goals. So first of all, just in case anybody hasn't gotten the action guide, here's the QR code. So let's do a recap of the first 5 days. So day 1 was really about your mindset, nurturing and nourishing your own mindset and your confidence. It's so easy for us to lose confidence in what we're doing because especially if there's an income, struggle where the sales are not happening. So I think it's important for us to remember that we do bring unique things to the world. We matter. We don't have to do all this alone. Day 2 was finding your people and really digging into what makes them your people. Of course, the one distinguishing characteristic between your people, your potential customers, and others are your customers have the problem that you solve. But then, of course, it goes deeper than that, and you have to really get to know them well to be able to speak to them in a way that they will connect with them so they start paying attention. Then we had day 3, which was magnetic messaging, talking about your business. So we worked on the elevator pitch plus and the customer success story format. And then day 4 yesterday was the yes factor. So this is how to turn interest into paying customers. How do you get your customers to say yes? And the key to that is finding the tipping point. So what is it that is going to finally nudge them over the edge from thinking about working with you to actually pulling out their payment, their wallet, their credit card, whatever, and actually working with you? And yesterday we kind of opened it up to the group to talk a little bit about the strategies that you're using. And Candy, you were trying valiantly to unmute and it didn't work, but I would love for you to come on today and talk about the tipping points that you've identified and strategies that you're using in your flavored snack nut business right now.
My biggest tipping point is taste, and my whole thing is taste my nuts. And that started because I go around to the vendors and ask them if they want to try a sample. But we have samples at every event, and I have samples in my shop. I have them in a little plastic bag, just like one nut fits in it. Mm-hmm. So taste is my thing. And if I can get them to taste them, they'll buy them. But also seeing them in the other shops and at events. And I've got my logo. People are starting to really recognize my logo. But like I said, I kind of cheated and I plugged my my sentence from the day before into Chat GPT just to see what it would come up with. And oh my God, it came up with some fabulous stuff for me because I'm not good with that kind of stuff. But for like to make situations, I've decided to do like a limited flavor. I used to have a maple spice nut that I did as a mixed nut. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to, like for the scarcity and the limited time, I'm going to bring that back as a maple spice pecan for fall. And amazing. It gave me like a 2-week printout of how to lead into it and do marketing for it and everything. Oh, so I'm excited.
Love that. So, that sounds great. But,
yeah.
So the scarcity and the time limits to really tipping point strategies. I love that. And then also just the taste, right? I mean, people don't want to spend money on something that's kind of like the guarantee or the free trial. Right. So people don't want to spend something on, especially that they might not like. So that removes that hesitation. So
that's my whole thing is you try them. And usually, like I said, if I can get somebody to taste them, they'll usually buy them. That's fantastic. But the small batch drops was really nice, and the pairing with other events. Because like I have a nut right now, my sweet and spicy peanuts are not selling great, but we've been running a special here at the shop where if you buy a pound of nuts, you get a pound of peanuts for half price.
Oh,
So I think that's kind of, and if you buy a 5 ounce bag, you get a 5 ounce bag for half price. So I think that's kind of what that is pairing with other events, which
that's
we were
great.
kind of already doing.
Bonuses.
But
Hmm.
I learned a lot from this lesson. I'm excited.
Good. I'm so
So
glad.
thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, I'll let you get ahead. Go on.
Okay, that was great. I appreciate that. Thanks, Candy. So let's talk about the plumber's mindset. So I'm going to ask you to pretend that you're a plumber. So here you are working hard in someone's kitchen, and your neighbor suddenly discovers that they have a huge plumbing leak, and water's spilling out of their pipes into a big bucket, and they're really worried about it. Now, a lot of times, not plumbers aren't this is why we need to learn from the plumbers. They don't do this generally, but we as business owners do this. We start to talk ourselves out of making a sale. So we might say, oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to seem pushy. I don't want to take advantage of them in their time of need. All the while, your customer is like, help me. I am literally drowning here in my kitchen. And so when you think about it that way, it's an extreme example, because of course, if your neighbor has a plumbing leak, they're going to call you, and or if you're walking by and you hear them yelling, oh my God, the water's everywhere. And you're going to run up to their door and say, how can I help you? But when we're not in some kind of an emergency situation like this, we really tend to talk ourselves out of talking to people and offering this potential solution to the problem that we know they have. So here's what I really want you to understand and believe, and really, really take this in. If you have the solution to someone's problem, you are actually harming them. You're actually doing them a disservice by not offering it. If of course, they have autonomy. They can always say no, right? And you're not going to do it in any kind of pushy way, but you're going to tell them, you have a leaky pipe? Well, guess what? I'm a plumber. You have a framing need. You have art. You don't have, you have all this original art and it's not framed. Guess what? I'm a framer. You need snacks for your tailgate party. Guess what? I sell snacks. You have a beautiful gown that doesn't fit. Guess what? I'm a tailor, right? Like, you need photographs of your wedding. Guess what? I'm a photographer. You can see that you're going to do a disservice by not sharing what you do, the fact that you have the solution to their problem. They can make the decision about whether they want to go with you. But if you talk yourself out of it, it's going to give away all that power that you have to make the money that you deserve to make. How does that sit with it?
I had something like this happen. At one point, I had a situation where there was somebody online who needed an alteration done, that had said, and this happens frequently, says, I need somebody that's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, and this happens a lot with alterations. Fast fashion has really messed us up in the head that way. And I reached out to her anyway, because I don't know what she thinks an arm and a leg is. I know what I charge. She's now a repeat customer of mine. So it worked out just because I at least was like, I don't know what she thinks rush is. I don't know what she thinks too much is. She didn't say. So I was able just to say like, hey, I can do it. And this is about how much it would cost. And she was okay with that. Somebody else might have thought it was too much, but she didn't. So it worked.
I love that you didn't second guess, that you didn't try to figure out what she thought would be too much. You were like, this is what I charged. If I'm really good, here's the offer. And I find that I don't do that. I guess I still do that sometimes, but I definitely, when I was doing interior design, I definitely did that. I would think to myself, they're not at the price point where they can afford this, so I'm going to offer them this instead. I should not have done that. I should not have made these assumptions about their budget and how they want to spend it. People buy what's important to them. And so it's really, kudos to you for not talking yourself out of mentioning it. That's great. Anybody else have any thoughts about this? Any experiences? Melissa, if you're talking, I cannot hear you.
Oh, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've had a few experiences with that, just having conversations. The biggest thing for me is if I'm at like a networking event, because I work full time. So I have a full-time job on top of trying to, promote my business. So I'm always confused sometimes and conflicted. And when I'm at these network events, when people bring something up, that, hey, I need a photographer, or I've got a family member having a wedding, things like that. I'm like, do I offer my service or not? Because I'm here
Because you're,
benefiting my company
oh yeah.
that I work for. So a lot of times I end up just not saying anything. So I know I'm missing out on that opportunity, but I'm not always sure if that's appropriate either, because I feel like I'm supposed to be representing my job.
Does your job know that you have a business?
They do. Yes.
Yeah.
They do.
I mean, I think a way to handle it would just be something like, technically I'm here representing my company, but I am a photographer and I would love to talk to you about this. Can I give you my photographer card and we can just set up a time later to talk?
Sure.
Does that sound like something that you would be comfortable saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know why I couldn't think of something like that. I guess my nerves more the best of me, and then just worrying about representing who I was there to represent. I just felt like I was kind of overstepping. So I always kind of kept my mouth quiet, not saying
I understand
anything.
that. But I think, as long as you're, not introducing yourself as a photographer at this event that's networking for your company, right? But if it comes up, I think it's very fair. I'm sure your company would like for you to be successful in both areas. They want to keep you happy. They want to keep you, employed there. And so I think as long as and you can kind of do a little bit like, acknowledging that, like, oh, I don't want to be awkward because I'm technically representing my company, and then, just say, if you want to give me your number, I'll call you when we get home tonight or something, something like that. I think that would be fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Great
you.
example. Thank you. All right, let me get back to the next step here in our presentation today. So thank you for sharing all of your experiences. I appreciate that. So this is what we're going to do today. You're going to need this, or maybe, maybe you all are fancy and have phone calculators. This is my visual aid. So we're going to calculate how many sales you need each month to reach your annual income goal. So it's 3 calculations and it's all in your action guide. So step 1 is to figure out what your monthly income goal is. And the easiest way to do that, of course, is to take your annual income goal and divide it by 12. So as an example, if you want to make $60,000 in your business this year, or, in a year, divide that by 12 and your monthly income goal is 5,000. Makes sense, right? That part's simple. Then we're going to figure out what your average sales amount is. So unless you have really good data for that, it might be easiest to just take your total sales last year divided by the number of sales that you made. So if you made $40,000 last year, 48 sales, that means, which is 4 a month, right? 48 sales is 4 a month. You made, your average sale amount was $833. Then we're going to put it together here. So you're going to take your monthly income goal divided by your average sales amount to reach the sales per month that you need. So your average month, your monthly sales goal, income goal was 5,000. Your average sale amount, 833, means you need 6 sales per month. So here is the question. Is that possible? Is it possible for you to make the number of sales that you need to make your monthly income, which will then, of course, result in your annual income that you want? there are a lot of levers that you can pull here. If you think, well, there's absolutely no way that I could make, 6 sales, whatever, 6, let's say your income goal is higher and your average sale amount is lower, then you might, let's say you have to make 20 sales a month or something. And you think, well, that seems unlikely. So then you can go back and you can adjust the other 2 things. So your average sale amount might need to go up. That's fine. Maybe you're selling in bundles. Maybe you're just raising your price. Maybe you're taking away your lower price program, whatever it is. Or if you think, that's one of the levers you can pull. The other one is your monthly income goal. So maybe rather than reaching $60,000 this coming year, you're going to reach 50,000, and with the goal to get to 60,000 the following year. So, but let's assume that we are continuing on with your sales, those sales per month of 6. Let's just keep moving forward with that idea. So you need to make a plan to get those sales. So you know how many you have to get, and you know the average sale amount. So let's dig into this. So here's how we're going to use the things that you implement, everything that you've learned so far in this challenge to get those sales. So building your confidence, right? So it's about positioning yourself as that expert, acknowledging that you are an expert. That's probably step 1, right? A lot of us feel like we're not an expert because there are other people who know more than we do. But I think it's really helpful to remember there are plenty of people who know less than we do. So you're an expert at your level. Finding and connecting with your ideal customers. I hear a lot of times people say, I can't raise my prices because the people that I work with won't be able to pay that. And that is totally fine. And you're probably right. They probably can't, at least a lot of them. I would just got finished saying, don't guess what you people can and will pay for. But still, like by and large, if you feel like your people are not going to be able to pay more, then those are not your ideal customers. And so it's about finding who your ideal customers are and connecting with them with clarity, right? That's the next step, is your messaging. You have to talk about what you do in a way that is clear about the value that you offer. A lot of times people don't buy a thing, they buy the thing that the thing is going to get them, right? So they don't necessarily buy, or they don't go into it thinking, I'm going to buy a dress. They say, I want to look amazing at this event. So that's what they're really buying. So if there's 2 dresses and one is like, it's cute, and the other one is like, wow, I'm going to walk in and own that room, they're going to do everything they possibly can to buy that more expensive dress, because that's the importance of the value of that dress is going to get them. And so when you are very clear about the value that you offer, it allows them to make the choice to work with you no matter what you charge. Then, of course, it becomes activating the tipping points. So now you have your prices set, you feel confident about it, you've found your ideal customers, you've conveyed the value. Now, what is it that's going to tip them over into pulling out their wallet? And the real key, of course, is playing into that tipping point, but also just offering your products and services to people who need them right now. So remember, we talked about the target. So there's the big outer ring, an inner ring, and then that little circle in the middle. Those are your services right now. So I want you to think through your marketing efforts and stop marketing to the outer ring. That's just, the sales cycle is too long. They don't know you well. They don't even maybe know they have the problem. They're not ready to make a decision. The outer ring is not where our focus should be. It really needs to be on this inner ring. The people who are ready to buy, they need you now. Does that make sense? How does everybody feel about that? Make sense? Okay. So let's hear how you're feeling right now about all of this stuff. Like confident, is this you right here? Money's raining down on you. So I'm going to talk to you about our program called Fuel Your Startup Income Accelerator. And this is really who it's for. It's for people who see the value of focusing on increasing your income. There's many, many things that you can focus on in your business. there comes a point where you have to focus on just making more money. Like that has to be your focus. And then once you have those systems set up and the pricing properly set, you're connecting with the right people, your messaging is clear. Once you have those foundations set, then you can start focusing on, perhaps your craft some more, or bringing in a team to help you. But there comes a point in your business where you've set the foundations. Now you're focusing on what you need to do to get more money in the door. And that's who this program is for. So if you're ready to go deeper with these same strategies that we talked about and more, that's who the program is for also. And especially if you know that you need to get better at sales and pricing, and as I say, perhaps growing a team, we really dive into those topics in this program. So it's called Fuel Your Startup Income Accelerator. And as I said, it has one focus. It's helping you make more money, and keep more money in your business. So I'm just going to give you a few details about it. It's an 8-week program, and it starts on September 17th. We meet on Zoom, but they're live. So you get to ask the teachers the questions, talk about your specific scenarios, talk to each other, just like we've been doing in this challenge, where you guys have ideas for each other and support, sharing your thoughts. But we do record the sessions, so you can rewatch them, or of course, if you miss one, you can still catch up. So it's 90 minutes over lunch. So it's noon to 12:30, or noon to 1:30 on Wednesdays for 8 weeks, starting on September 17th on Zoom. And we bring in subject matter experts to do the teaching. I teach a little bit in the first couple of sessions, and then after that, it's all subject matter experts talking to you about what they do and how they can help you to make more money. So I'm going to go through each module with you real quick. So module 1, find your customers. So we go deeper into this. We did a great high level discussion of this topic in this challenge. We're going to go a lot deeper into the problem that you solve and who specifically your customers are, so that you can talk to them. And then how are you going to talk to them? Well, we're going to work on your messaging. So we're going to work on more messaging and more clarity. We help you create something called a big promise, your big promise. That is very compelling. It kind of captures all the ways you serve your customers in one statement, which you can then use in various areas and situations. That's a very powerful one. Module 3 is make more sales. So we go into even deeper into this customer awareness stages, and then specifically the sales process. So we actually have you role play with each other, sales conversations, so you get better at this. You feel more confident. You kind of can have the awkward sales conversations on the practice calls, right? So that when you get on the phone or in person or whatever with your actual potential customers, you feel a lot more confident, and you got it all worked out, everything that you're going to say. Mind Your Money is module 4. So this is about managing your money, forecasting, and pricing is the other piece of it. Fund Your Dreams. So we have a funding panel. We have a lender, a grant writer, and we talk about co-funding, or crowdfunding also. So it's kind of different ways that you can, as a business owner, get outside funding. And that's really an impactful presentation or session. Protecting your assets. So this is about the keeping more money. So help you make more money and keep more money. So it's about insurance, what kind of business insurance you might need, what kinds you don't need probably, and talking about copywriting, trademarking, patents, trade secrets. So those are protecting your intellectual property so that somebody isn't stealing and profiting off of what you've created. So then the 7th week, we're going to talk about streamlining your processes. So we're going to talk about AI and how you can use that, and all kinds of other strategies that really help you create these processes that are repeatable and, most importantly, teachable, because then you can teach them to team members. And so the last session is grow your team. So when to hire, like when should you think about hiring? how to hire and whom to hire to grow your team and, you know, start growing your business, taking some of the pressure off of you, sharing the workload, and letting you focus on the things that you are uniquely good at, and letting go of some of the things, or not letting go exactly, but delegating some of the things that aren't in your absolute zone of genius, as they say. So there's a lot of bonuses with this program. We have a downloadable workbook every week. I do, after the program is over and you've developed your big promise, I take your big promise and I go through your website for you. I do an audit on how the messaging is relating. Like, do I think that your messaging is coming through? The big promise is really coming through and communicating what you're doing to your customers. So that is a bonus. And then if you, there's a 2-payment option or a pay in full option. If you choose the pay in full option, you and I can have a pricing consultation, just private one-on-one. So the price is $345 for this 8-week program, or as I mentioned, we have a 2-payment option of $175 each. So this is a very robust program, and we are able to present it for such a low price, you know, compared to other similar programs, because we fundraise all year to do it. You know, we're a nonprofit, and we're constantly writing grants. We get sponsors to help with offsetting our costs so that we can keep our prices really low. So the program starts on September 17th, as I mentioned. And so enrollment is open now until then. And I am going to pop the link in the chat, but of course I have a QR code for you also, which is here. And let me pop this into the chat. This is the link to the program if you want to explore it. Fuel Your Startup Income Accelerator. So I want to just talk about like the idea that maybe you don't need this program, which of course, you know, you might not need this program. So a lot of us try to DIY everything. I mean, that's why we're entrepreneurs, many of us, right? We feel very empowered and able to do things ourselves. So I just wanted to address that. I do know that you know probably that you need tools, you need guidance, and you need support, but can you get that elsewhere? Of course you can. Of course you can. And you need it all the right order. But here's what I want to further kind of sell Fuel Your Startup for you. First of all, it's with Aviatra. You know, we've been doing this for 15 years. We've helped over 5,000 women start and grow their businesses. 5,000. Last year alone, we helped 1,038 women directly, just last year. So it's easy to fit it into your schedule because it's 90 minutes over lunch, 1 day a week. It's easy to recoup your investment because, of course, you are focusing on making more money. So if you invest in the program, it will come back to you. So let's think about if you kept your money and didn't do the program.Here's the real question. And I have to ask myself this a lot when I'm thinking about investing in something. If I kept my money, what would actually change? Would I really do all this myself? Maybe. But if I'm honest with myself, maybe not. I just bought a Pilates at home kit. You know, it's like some stretchy bands and a ball and a ring. And I thought, the reason I invested in that is because I want to make sure that I feel some accountability to myself to do the workouts. You know, I need that. I personally need that accountability. And so that might be the case for you as well. Sometimes you could do this yourself, but maybe it's actually better if you join a group like Aviatra and let us help you. We bring in all these experts. You don't have to Google it all yourself, right? We're actually bringing you the experts. You can ask your questions and talk about your specific situations during the program, which is amazing. And it'll keep you moving forward. So this is your personal invitation to join me and join our experts and join the other amazing women who are going to be enrolling in Fuel Your Startup. So I hope you can join me for this. It's a really impactful program. I'm there every week. I'm teaching, as I mentioned, the first couple of weeks. After that, we have experts. And it's just, I'm really proud of this program. And I really want you to be part of it if it's a good fit for you. So does anybody have any questions about Fuel Your Startup?
I am super busy during this time. I really would like to do it.
Yeah.
I've got River Roots, and I've got like 3 events that Saturday and every weekend. I don't know if I can put enough mental
Yeah.
work into it to really absorb it all. But I see it says March 19th on the paper. Will you be?
Oh, does it say March 19th? We do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do it twice a year. We do it in March.
So you will be doing it again?
Yep. We'll be doing it. We do it in the spring and we do it in the fall.
I really want to do it, but I'm
That's
scared
all
to
right. I
sign
will
up for
mark
it
you
right now
down.
because I'm so swamped.
Well, I understand. Like, this is your busy year, this busy time of the year. This is my little book that I capture all my my leads in, basically. And so I'm just gonna write you down, Candy, for this.
Okay,
one.
yeah.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for talking about that. I think this would be a great program for you for sure. But
Yes.
I think it has to be the right time for you. So
Right. Because it goes through October and
yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about
CC
River
week. I
Roots
know that's
next
gonna be a challenge. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yes, thanks. Thanks for asking about that.
I just want to say that all of the Aviatra programs are incredible.
Oh,
You
thanks.
just learn so much. And think you're right about taking the course when you have more time. Like I just went through my slow time so that I could focus on my business. And now there are things that I can implement. Now we're going into the busy season, and it's amazing. So
That's a
thank
great
you,
point.
Jill. Thank you, Jasmine, and everyone.
That's so sweet. Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that so much. And Jennifer, I know you just went through a program with us as well, our Artist Profitability Blueprint.
And it's a lot of information that I'm just now kind of, sifting through too.
Yeah, sure.
I did spend all of yesterday working on my website,
Good for you.
mostly because I really hadn't done much with it since I started it. Well, I think the last time I sent something out was in May, but the last time I actually rearranged anything on my website was January. So
Okay.
I took out some stuff, I added some stuff, and I know you received my email blast. So
Yes, that's great. Congratulations. That's great.
so
I love
I've
that you're
marked
working
a Thursday for each month for the rest of the year
Good for you.
to sit down and send out an email blast about the next month.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna encourage you to rephrase that in your own mind. Email blast sounds very impersonal, and this is like that
Sure.
was the word, right? Like everybody used that, but for
Yeah.
me, once I started renaming it as my newsletter, I felt in my own perception change. Like I'm talking to individual women who care about what I'm talking about, want to build their business. And so similarly with you, if you said I'm sending out my newsletter to, the people who support
But it doesn't
me and
say
what I
it
do.
doesn't say email blast on the actual
Of course not, but even
thing.
just your own mindset,
My thought
right?
process.
Yeah. I think just remembering that this is going out to actual individual people, and it's targeted to people that care about what you're doing. So I think that that renaming it even in your own head can be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Love it. Melissa, I don't know if you have anything that you want to talk about. I know you're driving, so it's totally fine, but I hope you would be able to join the program perhaps.
Actually, I am definitely thinking about it. I was just looking at the schedule to see how I could get that, make that work to get those in with my schedule with work.
Yes. So that is one of the reasons why we put it over lunch hour, because people, if they have a day job, they need to work around that. As I mentioned,
Right.
we record them all. And if you knew that you couldn't be at a specific session, you could send me questions too in advance if you want me to ask them, on your behalf, and then you can watch the replay. But
Okay.
yeah, I would hope you do. I mean, we've had people who go through the program and can never attend any of them, and they just, use the recordings, but it can be more impactful if you are there live, participating in the conversations.
Yes, because I have to say, sometimes I have to force myself to go back and watch recordings. So if I don't
Oh.
actually attend it, I struggle to
Yes.
go back.
I know what you
So
mean.
I if I'm gonna put the resources into that, I'd really like to make it work. So I just have to
Yeah.
go through my work schedule to make sure that I can carve that time out.
Okay.
Work, and I don't have any meetings during those times. And then, like I said, I'm definitely intrigued. I feel like this would be a great step for me.
Good. I'm so excited. Thank you. Especially because you have a service and a product. So
Mhm.
it's exciting that you have some, different strategies, different types of things to sell people. So,
Mhm.
different income streams. I'm sure that's why you bought the photo booths. So,
Yes.
yeah, I think there's a ton of potential for growth there.
Yeah. I definitely
right.
have a lot of growing to do.
Well, we'd love
I
to help
keep
you with
the
that.
yeah, the biggest thing is I just keep I think it maybe a little bit of confidence at the same time. I'm kind of afraid to put myself out there because of my job, and it's trying to balance the two.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
working on that. I'm setting my boundaries
Yeah.
at work at this point.
Okay, good.
So I can get more focused on what I love to do, which is my photography stuff. So and that's
Yeah.
again why I'm taking this week this was one more step to being more focused on what I really want to do.
Well, good for you. Like you really made time for this. And so I think that's something to really be proud of. Everybody who's been joining us for these, watching the replay or live, taking that step, those forward steps that when we make those, they really should be celebrated. So I hope I'm going to clap you up right here because it really, it's like investing in yourself with time. And so I think, I hope you're proud of yourself and I'm proud of you. So
Thank you.
yes. All right. Thank you all so much. I'm going to follow up with some more information about Fuel Your Startup. And I just really want to say that it's been fun talking with you every day this week, and maybe we can continue to do it. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.